favor. I do believe that when things are said and done over the next 24 hours, he will be declared the winner. All of us are looking forward to that. Joe Biden is just a great guy, and is exactly what the country needs at this particular point.
That's what you said back in February. Take us back to that moment. I think it was the Monday before the South Carolina primary. You came out and decided it was time to endorse and embrace Joe Biden. Walk us through your decision-making process. Could you have imagined it would have the impact that it had?
No, I did not imagine that, but I do know that I was working hard to try to not only make an endorsement, but to do it in such a way that would give him a surge, which is what he needed. He'd just come out of 3 primaries and lost all of them. Did okay in Nevada, but it was really, his campaign was on life support. And I knew, or at least I felt I knew, that he was just the kind of guy that we needed to have our nomination. Because I think that Joe Biden could stand up to Donald Trump's insults better than anybody. He would heap insult upon anybody. But the question was, of all the candidates that we had, which one of them was best to withstand these assaults? I thought it was Joe Biden. And I think that my thoughts proved out to be pretty factual.
Your judgment turned out to be pretty good on that. What is the message you're taking away from the overall election results 4 days out?
Yes.
So what is the message you're taking away from the election 4 days out for Congress, for Democrats in Congress across the country?
Well, I think that what we saw was a candidate that could really reflect what this country is all about. This democracy that we have, it's just an experiment. And it has been with us for a long, long time. But it's not perfect. We're always in pursuit of a more perfect union. And I thought that we should continue that pursuit. And I just thought that Joe Biden would do well with that. We had, for the last 4 years, retrogression taking place in this country. And what I thought we really needed is somebody that could bring this country together. I don't understand why people keep talking about how divided this country is. This country's always been divided. Since 1619, when blacks first came ashore here, and then we had 244 years of slavery, another 100 years of apartheid. It was not until the 1954 Supreme Court decision this country really came face to face with the things we needed to do to get beyond the racial divide in this country. And we've been doing a very good job of that for a long time. But then all of a sudden now, we got a president who decided that he wanted to take us back to that period in time that a lot of us would like to get behind us. And I just think and thought at that time and think to this day that Joe Biden has the right background, the right experience to help us continue this pursuit of a perfect union.
How do you want Joe Biden to pay you back?
I'm sorry?
How do you want Joe Biden to pay you back?
Pay me back? I don't want anything out of this. All I want is a country that my children and grandchildren can be able to develop in and be able to pursue their dreams and aspirations. I've been around. I'm full scores. I'm beyond the promise. So I'm not used to me. No.
I think you have a lot of promise. I think you have a lot of promise left. Congressman Clyburn, thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much.
Byron Pitts, let me bring that to you. I mean, he says he doesn't want any payback, but he made all the difference.
Oh, no question. I mean, Clyburn is old school cool, right? I mean, he was cucumber calm during that time when everyone thought Joe Biden's campaign was dead. And George, he talked about the racial, the divide in our nation, as we've talked about for several nights here on the air. And so today I spent a lot of my day at the river's edge of that divide, talking to people, not at the extremes, right? Because there's real fear, real pain on both sides. And so I talked to a number of people in Georgia, North Carolina, who supported President Trump, people in Pennsylvania who supported Joe Biden. And my takeaway was, at least in this moment, I mean, people are getting a little impatient. They want this resolved soon. But in this moment, I saw a great amount of both patience and pride. I'd like to read to you two conversations I had with two people today. This first is a guy, his name is Tony Lombardi. I've known Tony since I was 13 years old. He's a white man, Italian descent, who voted for Donald Trump because he did not trust the Democratic Party and all these concerns about socialism. So he wasn't pleased with the outcome of the election as the way it's going. This is what he wrote to me. He said, first and foremost, we are Americans. As such, we must place our trust in the political process our founding fathers created. Otherwise, we perish as a nation. This is from a Trump supporter. And then also today, I spoke with a young woman, African-American woman, 27 years old, who feels that fear and feels that divide. This is a young woman who participated in a Black Lives Matter march in New York City, was pushed to the ground by a New York City police officer. This is what she wrote, but she was raised part of her life in Georgia and was really excited about what's happening in Georgia. She said, the first time I saw the KKK in full congregation was in Georgia. The first time I heard a white person say the N-word was in Georgia. I've always associated the state with racism. What's happening now, this is huge. And George, that 27-year-old is my daughter, Christiane. And so we all know people, both in our professional space and our personal space, who were on very different sides of this election. And one of the things I think all of us sense, and the people we talk to, is this sense of puzzlement. Like, how can good and decent people see the same information but be on different sides of the river? And I think what I heard from Tony and from Chris and other people I talked to, I don't know as well, is that in this moment, they're willing to be patient. They're willing to, as Congressman Clyburn talked about, believe in the promise of America, and to give, if it ends up being Vice President Biden, a chance to lead this nation to a place that people on both sides of the river can feel comfortable with.
And we can all hope your conversations are a good sign of where the country is right now. Byron Pitts, thanks. We'll be right back.
The time is now for ABC News Live.
Get it streaming everywhere, right to you.
Hello?
This is Montana Highway Patrol. You're looking for a couple of missing teenagers.
That's right. Last seen a red Focus.
The steering wheel's getting stiff.
Lock the door. We're fine.
Got ourselves a predicament.
Tuesday morning on the day before the CNA Awards. Wake up from Nashville with...
Hey, I'm Darius Rucker. Good morning, America.
Yes, it's Darius performing for you.
This is going to be so good.
Tuesday, only on Good Morning America. Sponsored by Walmart. Now, when it matters most, the straightforward facts. ABC News is America's #1 news. #1 in the morning, #1 in the evening, and the #1 show on all of television. #1 in late night versus the competition. #1 in politics versus the competition. The #1 daytime talk show. And #1 in streaming news. Most trusted, most watched. ABC News is America's #1 news. This is what being live is all about. This is ABC News Live, the 24/7 streaming news source, ABC News. Breaking news, live events as they happen, streaming live, non-stop, straight to you. Original, on the edge, breakthrough storytelling from ABC News, National Geographic, ESPN, all designed differently for you to stream straight to any screen whenever you want, free and unimagined. The most celebrated, epic live events and moments, all playing out right before your eyes.
See those flames behind me?
And go deeper inside the groundbreaking exclusives from the campaign trail only ABC News gets. Watch ABC News Live right now and anytime. Streaming on Roku, Hulu, Facebook, and abcnews.com.
ABC News Live.
Streaming everywhere, right to you.
ABC News Live. The most powerful stories of our time, anytime. Nightline.
Yes, mornings may look different these days, but where you start your day, where you spend your mornings, where you get connected to everything that's happening,
And face it, there's a whole lot happening in our world these days.
where you get all the breaking new information of the day to help you navigate through these times. That's why we're here.
Good morning, sunshine.
And making sure you start your day off with a smile and some sunshine.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Good morning, America. Oh, how I love saying that.
Wake me up.
Oh, look at this new sky.
Hey, clear sky, guys. Made it through.
Change is difficult, but this is my home. This is where I want to be.
I love that town. I'm not going to bail on it.
Big deal. New beginning.
Rebuilding Paradise Network premieres Sunday at 9 on National Geographic.
What's the most innovative daily news podcast out there to listen to every day? Well, the Edward R. Murrow Awards say it's Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. Even the New York Times calls us a top news podcast worth listening to. So if you like getting behind the biggest news stories of the day, inside all the details, the backstory, and what will happen next, then listen to Start Here, the daily news podcast from ABC News. It's like no other news podcast out there. Even the critics agree. Listen free on Apple Podcasts.
Welcome back to our election coverage. We are where we have been for several days right now. You see right there, Donald Trump has 214 electoral votes to 253 for Joe Biden. Still waiting on those states that we've been waiting for: Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. Want to go to Arizona right now. Whit Johnson is there, and we've just gotten a major new drop of votes for Maricopa County, that major county in Arizona.
George, that's right. We're getting these numbers and dissecting them right now. Maricopa County released results from another 73,000 ballots, and Donald Trump has now moved within 1 percentage point of Joe Biden. Biden now up by 29,000 votes. He was at 36,000 votes. So now the number of outstanding ballots across the state drops below 200,000. Now, we haven't been able to calculate this math yet, but coming into this latest round of results, Donald Trump needed to earn about 60% of the remaining votes in order to get the win. But right here, again, the margin continues to slim, and there are a couple things to keep in mind here. Maricopa County tells us that they're hoping to give us their final round of results tomorrow morning. But there are some counties out there that we're not even going to hear from until next week. Pinal County, which generally leans Republican, still has about 30,000 votes out there, and they told us they're not planning to count them over the weekend. They won't even start until Monday or Tuesday, so we could still be waiting for results for days. This is like bottom of the ninth inning, 2 outs, Donald Trump at the plate, down 1 run, but he still has some swings left, so we'll have to wait and see what happens, George.
Well, let's talk to Nate Silver about that right now. 97% of the expected vote in. Nate, what do you make of these new votes? Are they coming in a way that gives Donald Trump more hope?
I mean, it's much less of a climax about the ninth inning, I think. It's been kind of Groundhog Day, I think, instead. So Trump needs to win new batches of votes by about 15%. He won this batch by 10%, so he's below pace, losing altitude a bit, but not so far off track that you can count him out entirely, especially with conservative counties also left with ballots out. So, I mean, again, it's kind of the same thing. A couple of days ago, he was hitting his marks. Now, as different batches come in, he's a little bit below them, but I don't think you're going to see anybody call the state until there's more of Maricopa in.
So the counties that are coming in, particularly Pinal County, which has 30,000 votes, they're now going to have to come in above the marks that he's been hitting so far.
Yeah, what's tricky is you have different batches of ballots, right? You have some election day drop-offs. You have the late earlies, they're so-called people who got their mail ballots in late. You have a handful of provisionals or election day that was kind of forgotten about here and there. So it's kind of all over the place. The transparency is not great. The numbers of how many ballots are out there is a little squishy. So that's why I think you just a lot of caution's needed on Arizona. I mean, this batch of ballots probably lowered Trump's chances on balance, but not to a point where it radically changes the trajectory.
So he tightens up the race, but it lowers his chances of actually winning.
So
Okay.
you tighten up, you have to